All go on, traders. Yeah, the traders here again. All right, guys. So Mullen is on a slide. It's still dropping. As you can see, pre-market. I'm on a 15-minute chart here, and we are at 55 cents, guys. So what's going on? So there was some news or interview that came out that it seems like Lawrence and David Mitri, are not on the same page. So there was an interview that was done, and seems like the information that we are getting is a little bit of contradiction between what Lawrence is saying versus what maybe you know David's side of the story. So let me just jump right into it here. So this is courtesy of Financial Journey, a YouTuber. So this is the interview that he had yesterday. So just listen in. I may speed up the sound just to try and get through as much as possible. But let's listen in, and then you see what happens here.
Good, and how are you doing?
Excellent. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
And this is the
Yeah, a
CEO
lot of
of
things have been
Mullen,
coming out,
David
more
Mitri.
specifically about Lawrence. So, I guess what's your take on that kind of stuff over the last little bit?
Interesting. Very interesting, to say the least. I want to thank you for inviting me on your show. Let me start by addressing that we signed an agreement with Lawrence on April 17th of this year. That agreement is filed with the SEC. You can go to Edgar and view it. It's a definitive agreement that says that it will act as the binding agreement until superseded by a subsequent definitive agreement, an operating agreement that outlines all of the material terms to the mail operations that would commence following the complete execution of all the operating agreements. So that agreement stands in full force and effect and can be viewed again on Edgar by anybody that chooses to review it. So we sent him definitive agreements, which are the operating agreements and all of the agreements that would underline operating mail. That went to his current lawyer, the Calhoun law firm, and we obviously submitted those documents for review. They submitted those documents to Lawrence and then contacted us towards the end of May to tell us that they were terminated by Lawrence, which we found to be interesting, to say the least. And then subsequently, on May 26th, we were contacted by a firm called Morgan Roth and Morgan Roth, and that they were appointed by Lawrence as the new law firm. And then we had our lawyers resend all of the documents to Morgan Roth on June 1st. And then on June 2nd, we were told that they had sent all the documents to Lawrence for review. And then we received, on the same day, mind you, we received a phone call from, quote unquote, his new CEO or a past CEO that he had brought back for one of his companies that claimed that they had terminated Morgan Roth and that Morgan Roth no longer represented Lawrence. So as of this date, there has been no comments sent back to us of the draft agreements that were sent to Lawrence by any law firm or by Lawrence himself, and we requested comments so that we can try to move this thing forward. So keep in mind, between January 4th of this year and January 20th, we had Lawrence at our facilities in Troy, Michigan, testing this EMM module, and Lawrence would provide us data showing that these units performed at whatever level that we had advertised were the results provided by Lawrence. We had asked that we wanted to have these units independently tested by an EPA certified test facility in Michigan. He agreed to do that on April 21st, and those vehicles have been sitting at the EPA test facility in Michigan, waiting for him to provide those units. We're told time in and over and over again that he's going to provide the units, and those vehicles have been sitting. Both Class 1 and Class 3 have sat at that facility now for well over a month, maybe more. And again, waiting to run these EPA certified tests so we could validate the unit as a condition to closing. So as of this date, there's been no response to that. So he had mentioned, I believe earlier you had stated that I had reviewed his quote-unquote Saudi deals. Now, I've never reviewed any Saudi deals, nor am I familiar with deals. And to be clear, if anyone were interested, they could defer to the agreements that we executed with them that, keep in mind, act as the definitive agreements until superseded by subsequent operating agreements, and they are not cancelable unless we mutually agree to terminate the relationship, which we've not done. That this individual would provide, as it relates to the Saudi deal, it's carved out. We gave him that. So I don't understand why he would say that he provided us that deal to look at when he has that as a carve-out in the agreements that we filed. I believe we filed those agreements with the SEC. I don't have the exact date, but I believe you can go to Edgar online and look at the 8K. But he does have a carve-out, and we gave him that territory as an exclusion, so we really don't have any rights to it, nor do we care. So, there'd be no reason for us to look at any agreements that he has between the Saudis or the alleged Saudis. I mean, we don't care one way or the other. So I want to be clear about that. I've never reviewed any documents. He's never provided any documents about any Saudi Arabian deal. The only documents that I've ever reviewed were documents with the District of Columbia for the installation of these units into Chevy Bolts. Those are the only documents we reviewed, and then subsequent IP and patent pending files that were made by him. So where we're at with this is, in our opinion, we have a binding agreement, and the agreement that is filed with the SEC stands until canceled by both parties. And at this stage, we're waiting for comments to the operating agreements and validation by an EPA certified laboratory, where we have 3 vehicles sitting waiting for these modules, 2 Class 1s and 1 Class 3. So very, very, very interesting, as you can imagine.
Yes, guys. So this is kind of what David is saying, that, based on what Lawrence has been saying, it's not all that factual. And as you know, that there is always 2 sides to a story. But David, I'm not going to get into the entire video, but David did say, with regards to what his plans are, yes, he's still looking to be, second in line with Tesla. Tesla will always be first, but he is still looking to do what he set out to do in terms of getting productions going, be top, the second in terms of EV production, second behind Tesla, and he's still looking to fulfill all of what he had mentioned. But there seemed to be a little bit of gray area here in terms of what, Lawrence is saying versus what David is saying. But as I said, I won't get into the entire video, but at least he's now speaking. But as you can see, with regards to the stock here, the stock is plummeting. So, with all of this uncertainty coming out with regards to the what Lawrence had mentioned before, in terms of even the technology, sounds like that is not yet fully tested. The Saudi deal, we're not even sure, if Mullen will be, getting a piece of that, or is there a deal? There is a lot of uncertainties there, guys. So, as I, usually say, I'm just giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So this is now one of the uglies. So, providing you with the information as it comes. I'm not saying it's facts. I'm not sure who to believe, Lawrence or David Mitri, but I'm just providing you with the information as it comes across my radar. Alright guys, so this is where we are at. So we'll watch and see what will happen. Sounds like David is committed in terms of getting the company up and running, but there seem to be some gray area. The news apparently is what we're hearing apparently may not be correct, or there seems to be some controversy with regards to what Lawrence is saying and what David is saying. Alright guys, I don't want to keep this too long, but this is what I have for you for today, unfortunately so. But as usual, if you like this type of content, don't forget to hit the like, don't forget to subscribe. Take care guys.